I would like to point out that this meeting is being hosted through live stream on the city's website and by Zoom teleconference. City Clerk, can we have a roll call?
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Brown.
Here.
Councilmember Krupa.
Here.
Councilmember Males.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Meyer.
Here.
Mayor Lilienthal.
Here.
All members are present.
At this time, members of the public may only comment on an item appearing on the agenda. Please adhere to the following. Comments be limited to 3 minutes or less. Comments should be directed to the council as a whole and not directed to individual council members. City Clerk, are there any registered speakers?
Mayor, there are no registered speakers.
With that being said, council now proceed to closed session. Good evening, everyone. I would like to call this October 11th, 2022 City Council meeting to order. I would like to remind the council to have their microphones turned on and remember that this is being live streamed on Zoom and teleconference. City Clerk, can we have a roll call?
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Brown.
Here.
Councilmember Krupa.
Here.
Councilmember Mails.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Meyer.
Here.
Mayor Lilienthal.
Here.
All members are present.
At this time, the invocation will be done by Ann Smith from Hope in the Valley Baptist Church, followed by our Pledge of Allegiance with our lovely Mayor Pro Tem.
Such a pleasure to be up here without complaining. Heavenly Father, I just want to thank you, number one, for a location to have a meeting like the city council meeting. I would like to pray over everybody that's here in the room, and there's a lot of them tonight. Father God, I also ask you to be present in the discussions, and any of the things that happen here tonight. I ask that you be present in the decisions and the choices that are made. I especially ask you for protection and come alongside of our public safety employees and all our city council members. And I pray for their health and their peace in Jesus' name. Ready to begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
City Attorney, can we have a report out from closed session?
Thank you, Mayor. No reportable action on items 4A and 4B. On item 4C, the city council gave settlement direction by a vote of 5-0.
Thank you, City Attorney. We're going to move to communications from the public. 3-minute timer for each person that comes up. Please state your name and the city, and then all who wish to speak need to be recognized by the mayor before speaking. For those that have joined by Zoom, raise your hand if you would like to speak. And right now I'm going to open up for items that are listed on the agenda. I don't have any here, but do I have any online? Okay.
If there's anyone on the Zoom call that would like to speak, now is the time to raise your hand. We'll give you just a few moments to unmute yourself or to raise your hand, please. Seeing none, Mayor, there's no one registered on the Zoom call.
Okay. Can I have Holly? Holly Temez? Okay. I'm going to close that part and open up for items not listed on the agenda, beginning with Andrew Allen.
Council, Mayor. A few months ago, I had asked in regards to running for city council, was told that I could not do so, being that I do not reside in the county. And having a business does not qualify for that. But come to find out, Mr. Petty has a trailer where he's claiming that he's going to qualify for District 5. But city ordinance says you cannot live in a trailer on the residence. So, I mean, regardless if you're doing construction to it or not, I have an RV at my business. Does that make me qualify? Because I mean, I can tell you some BS story and say, hey, I'm living in it. So I just want to see which side of the fence this is on.
I was gonna let you finish before.
Well, I'm just asking if I can say that I have a trailer that I'm living in at my place of business. Does that mean I qualify? I mean, the the code for it clearly states you can't be in an RV unless it's in a park.
Mayor, we can certainly briefly respond to comments, but the recommendation is to allow the public speaker to finish his comments, and then if
I'm
you'd like
done.
me to make brief comments when he's concluded, I'm happy to do so. Thank you for your comments. I understand the concern. It's being looked at by city code enforcement.
Currently, or till I just said something?
Like I said, brief comments in response. I can't have it
Gotcha.
back and forth. Thank you.
Next is Anthony. Connell. Did I say your last name right? Cano.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Anthony Connell. I'm nobody. I'm not a property developer. I don't own a car dealership. I have zero political aspirations. I'm not a social media influencer, and I don't own any hospitals. I'm not a resident of the city of Hemet and do not even live within the city's defined sphere of influence. I'm here this evening to ask you to do what you can to keep it that way. There's a group of somebodies who have cloaked themselves under the name Hemet United. They've launched a significant effort to increase the physical size of Hemet. Hemet United has met the threshold for petition signatures to move forward with this plan and are now poised to make significant advances toward completion. If this group's plan for city expansion comes to fruition, Hemet will need to provide law enforcement and fire services to a far greater area than is currently responsible for. Since commercial property drives a great deal of public funding, and there's a limited commercial property within the identified area of annexation, it's clear that the financial burden is likely to exceed the revenue generated. I've attended many council meetings over the last several months. Also, I've had candid conversations with members of various divisions of city services over the past year or so. I'm amazed at how city employees are doing more with less in every single department. Sitting through the riveting presentation of the annual city budget was enlightening as well. I noticed that while able to meet your obligations, you're not exactly flush with cash and looking for ways to spend the piles of money that you don't need. Given the increase in services and non-commensurate increase in funding sources, I struggle to understand how this maneuver might be advantageous to the city. Hemet United is currently tasked with generating a plan of services that proves that the proposed annex area will see an increase in access to services as part of the process. In order to do this, they're likely to ask for the city's cooperation in generating those reports. I'm here this evening to bring to light that increasing our current services is an unlikely scenario. In order to maintain our level of services, there will be a real cost that the city of Hemet will have to carry. CAL FIRE and Riverside County Sheriff do an excellent job of responding in a timely manner and with appropriate support when called to our area. To demand that the city of Hemet do the same in such a rural area seems unreasonable. Likewise, bringing the many miles of dirt roads into the care of the city will be a larger task than most believe. Lastly, I encourage you to exercise great scrutiny toward any effort to move toward this action. Hemet United is not a grassroots effort on the part of underserved residents. It's my contention that this group of somebodies may have a larger plan, but I assure you that it's one I want nothing to do with. I thank you for your time this evening. This topic deserves serious attention, and I trust that you will weigh the very real cost against the limited benefits and come to a conclusion that suits your constituents rather than the somebodies of the valley.
Thank you, Anthony. Next, can I have Pat Gregory?
Good evening, Mayor, council members. My name is Pat Gregory, and I'd like to talk about Measure H. In 2016, I voted for Measure U based on promises that public safety would be enhanced. I was impressed by Resolution 4703 that stated all proceeds of Measure U will be expended for the enhancement of public safety. Definition of enhancement: an increase or improvement in quality, not meant to maintain. When Measure U was passed, I was encouraged again because the city council put the Measure U promises in writing for a second time. with the passage of Resolution 4731. These are the promises. City Council shall dedicate 100% of tax proceeds to enhance public safety, add up to an estimated 39 new officers. The city will not reduce the expenditures for public safety below 72%, and the city will attain a funding ratio of 1.2 sworn officers per 1,000. 2 city councils voted that. Today, after 6 years and $65 million received by the city, not one of those promises has been kept. Additionally, there are 2 sections of Measure U itself that the city has ignored. Page 8, Ordinance 1918. The independent auditor's report shall include an accounting of the revenues received and expenditures made from Measure U. It's presented to the Oversight Committee, City Council, and public review. Where's this accounting? I haven't seen it. Page 11 says the city's Citizens Oversight Committee shall consist of 7 members. I understand that there has been at least 1 vacancy for years, but there have also been 2 eligible applicants that apparently have been ignored because of political reasons. I say this because the wife of one of the committee members on Facebook stated, Measure U committee is not a place to bring adversarial views. The Citizens Oversight Committee that you choose is to be independent, to review and advise. It's not there as a rubber stamp. I have 3 more minutes. The city attorney was supposed to provide an impartial analysis of Measure H for the voters to review on the ballot. He made 2 misrepresentations. First, he stated that Measure U is subject to an independent annual financial audit that occurs alongside the city's audit. Again, where is it? I haven't seen it. I challenge someone to show it to me. The city attorney second said the city implemented an additional level of review known as an agreed upon procedure to provide additional transparency. That's a misleading statement. I can only find, for an example, an AUP for 2019 and 2020 on the city's website. Where is this AUP for 21 and 22? Couldn't find it. And anyone who has taken Accounting 101 would know that an AUP is not an audit, does not provide additional transparency, and it does not express an auditor's expert opinion. During the past 6 years, 5 city interim managers have been in that seat. Who's really running this city? That's what scares me the most about Measure H. I have no idea where Measure U money went because according to the city's own audit, there are less police officers in 2021 than in 2017. The sad part of all of this is that our police and fire deserve all the support we can give them. Instead, we have a chaotic city government that cannot tell the truth about what Measure U was really used for. Without Measure U, the city continues to spend more money than it receives. If someone, any of you, would look at the financial statements, you would see that in 2021, without Measure U and without the COVID grant, the city is in the exact same dire financial predicament it was 6 years ago. The state of California still considers Hemet a high-risk city for pension obligations. Every other city in the surrounding valley has a city manager for at least 5 years. Hemet can barely keep a manager for a year. The city is not transparent, does not provide timely responses to information requests, has not kept its promises. So as a result, I cannot trust the city with extending Measure U. So until the city pulls itself together and gets new leadership, I cannot vote for Measure H. Thank you.
Mayor, as the last speaker has accused me of misrepresenting the facts, may I briefly respond?
Go ahead.
March 7th, 2022, Measure U Citizen Committee meeting Item 7A contains both the annual comprehensive financial report and the agreed upon procedures for fiscal year 2021. Those are available on the city's website. Anyone can look them up. I just pulled them up right now and confirm that they're there. As for the question as to the fiscal year 21-22, fiscal year 21-22 ended on June 30th of 2022, and the audits usually aren't completed until the beginning of next calendar year. So the Measure U committee can expect those, I'd say probably February or March of 2023, Mayor. That is all.
Next, can I have Mike Wolford? Followed by Mary Ann Duran.
Mayor, council, and ladies and gentlemen. I wasn't going to speak tonight, but I figured while I was here, I would do a little commercial for Candy Corner from the San Jacinto Chamber of Commerce. Now it's the Greater San Jacinto Valley Chamber of Commerce is putting on their annual Candy Corner event. It'll be October 27th. And this year, unfortunately, it's not going to be at Farmer's Corner anymore. We've been doing it there for about 10 years. It's going to be at Valleywide and on Esplanade from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. So please come out. If you're a San Jacinto Chamber member, your booth is free if you want to set up a booth and give out candy to the kids. And you can give your information to the children, to the children's parents. But it's really about the kids, about giving the kids a safe trick-or-treat experience. And what else? 5 to 8 p.m. Thursday, the 27th. And I'm sure there's something else I was supposed to say. I'll blurt it out later in the middle of the meeting. Thank you. Oh,
Thank-
giving away bikes. We always give away bikes. Bike donations. Bikes are like $75 a piece this year. Anybody want to give a bike away to an underprivileged kid, get a hold of me.
Okay. Thank you, Mike. Mary Ann.
Good evening, City Council. It's been a while since I've spoke. So I wasn't going to speak tonight, but surprise. So I hear that we are getting ready to vote for a new city treasurer. After the last city treasurer, are we ready to take that step? It looks as though, as you read, we might be going backwards and starting to recycle again, because we've already had this person has been mayor, has been, I don't know, a few other things, can't keep track. However, it says that you've only had one person, qualified individual for this position. However, you've had two qualified individuals for Measure U and to be on the board, and yet you had to reach out to others to say that we had to broaden to reach out. However, I don't see any reaching out for the treasurer. And I would like to say that I think in response that we should at least try and reach out like we did for Measure U to see if there is anybody else that wants to be treasurer. I know it's a big task. I know that it's not easy. Drives some people crazy. Look what happened. And anyway, also too, I think, I don't know. I just haven't been here in so long. That's all I got.
Thank you, Mary Ann. Can I have Scott Garrett? Followed by Anthony Thomas.
Good evening. Mayor, members of the City Council, I'm here actually to talk about two concerns. One is I had the opportunity this evening. I'm normally not in town to at this time, but it occurs to me that it looks like as a city.
Can't hear you.
Oh, is that good? Better? Okay, sorry. It's so close. Seems to me that the perception of the city when you're driving into the city is that people don't care. And I know that's not true. I know that all of you care. I know that all these people care, but I'm saying when you come into the city, it looks like people don't care. And I'm going to cite three examples. Lowe's, Winco, and the post office. And I give plenty of money to Lowe's, so I can feel I can complain. they have more empty tree wells than they have full trees and tree wells. Same thing at Winco. And the post office is a disaster. And I know the post office, we could blame the governor and the president, but I've been to cities that have the same governor and the same president that have very nice looking post office. And I think all of these are indication that the people who run those establishments feel like Hemet doesn't care and they can get away with just not caring. And those are just three. There's many more, but we have to deal with, and I don't know the answer, but I'm just saying that why would they allow their businesses to look like that? And part of it is because we allow it. And why do we allow it? I don't know, but I just wanted, it's something that's been on my mind for quite a long time. And I don't know the answer, but there's so many other examples where it looks like we just don't care. And somehow we have to find a way to care. And I don't know. The other thing was I happened to be in City Hall last couple of days, and you guys have implemented some kind of, it's called Q-less, and I think it should be called clueless. It's a disaster. I mean, if you think of you guys as being in the public service business or public relations business, it's such a cold way to be greeted. And I challenge any of you, or challenge may be too strong a word, to put your name in there, put the information in there, see how many mistakes you make before you get it right, because it's a difficult, it doesn't function properly. But beyond that, it's just a cold way to be most people dread coming to City Hall to begin with, and then you can't talk to anybody. You got to go to that machine, and it's not easy to function, and it sends the wrong message. And in the building department, I guess you've gotten rid of all your employees, and they're all contract, very nice people. So I'm not saying anything bad about the people, but what you get rid of is, I think they call it institutional memory, that no one knows anything because no one's been there very long. And chances are the people won't be there very long. And so I just think it's, and you have a lot of people that are angry, and you could blame the people, but when you have so many people that have a hostile interaction, you got to think something, are they all bad people, or is something wrong with the way we're delivering service? And that's it. It's just my observations. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Can I have Anthony Thomas?
City Council. My name is Anthony Thomas, and I'm a resident of Hemet for the last 10 months, now going 11. I walked the whole streets of Hemet. I walked the whole entire city, and I've seen a lot of stuff I recognize, but being that the city is overwhelmed with property damage, people not being mindful of other people's property, the streets of Achaia needs a U-Haul. Achaia, Juanita, Carmelita, all them streets. There's a lot of trees that's hanging over the streets that you can't see the signs at night, knowing where to turn, because the trees is covering up the signs. You can't see them. So you would have to go on your own knowledge of where these streets is located, because it's too dark along that whole Achaia. There's no lights, several lights, but not enough so when women and children walk the streets, they won't have to be harmed by someone who's walking the streets and don't care about nobody else's place of being. So I'm offering my service to be part of the city landscape, to trim some of them trees and them branches that you can't see when people may be hiding. You don't know, I don't know, but to feel comfort in your own homes, it's good to be noticed when you can walk down the streets and not be sheltered by the sidewalk being over controlled with branches and trees. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Thank you, Anthony. Can I have Megan? I'm not even going to try your last name. Hukin. I messed up. Canal.
Morning, Mr. Mayor, City Council members and staff. My name is Megan Hukin, and I've lived in Hemet since 2016. I've come here today to discuss the homeless epidemic that our city is facing. Currently, there are 217 homeless people.
Can you lower your mic?
Thank you so much. Is that better? Good morning, Mr. Mayor, City Council members and staff. My name is Megan Hukin, and I have lived in Hemet since 2016. I've come here today to discuss the homeless epidemic that our city is struggling with today. Currently, there are 217 homeless people in Hemet. I was once one of them. 80% reported that they are on shelters and 25% reported that they have become homeless within the last year, meaning that the homeless population is only increasing despite the measures that the city has taken, such as the gatekeepers and the ARPA funding of $1.3 million that was put forth to assist the homeless in bettering their quality of life and bettering our city as a whole. With that being said, I'm opening a business named Angels in the Outfield Homeless Cleanup Crew that will be serving Hemet. I aim to raise the property value, raise the annual business margin, and reduce the homeless population. In order to do so, I will be offering employment to the homeless to clean up the city and also offer them extended resources. The services offered consist of street and field cleanup, graffiti removal, to address vacant buildings, to ensure that they're up for code requirements, weed and overgrown vegetation removal, to avoid fire hazards and homeless encampments. We would also like to work hand in hand with the C-Click Fix app and assist in the homeless strategic plan. My employees have been interviewed and hired for excellence and only the success and growth of our city and themselves. On August 2nd, 1776, the Declaration of Independence was signed by our forefathers. It goes over our unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I intend to utilize positive reinforcement and emphasize those rights within my business to improve the homeless community within our community and our city as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you, Megan. Next, can I have Santa? Followed by Jeanette.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. Today, I'm just going to talk about the Ramona Bowl, and I think I'm beating Norm to that. We have the Boo at the Bowl that's coming up October 28th, 9th, and 29th, and 30th. So we have a lot of fun. We got the carnival type atmosphere up on the top. And then as you go down, there's going to be the Casa Loca. And Casa Loca was over at the Farmer's Corner. But since we can't be there this year, we are going to the bowl. And we guarantee you'll be scared. So we'd like to have you guys come down and enjoy the Boo at the Bowl. And it starts at, gates open at 6 o'clock, and the last entry will be allowed in at 8:30. So we're also looking for more candy because we're going to give a lot of candy out to the kids. And so we are looking for donations for candy. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. Next, we have Jeanette, followed by Norm Kairos.
Hello, City Council. My name is Jeanette Chun, and I'm with Birth Choice Centers here in Hemet. And I wanted to just come today and introduce ourselves to you. We have a lot going on in our city and our state in regards to some of the governor's decrees and the legislation that's come down. And I just want you guys to know that as a pregnancy resource center in the city of Hemet, we want to be a positive resource for the city to be able to utilize. We are only open on Tuesdays and Thursdays right now. We're off of West Stetson Avenue. In the Pediatric Partners building off of there. And in those 2 days a week, which has added up to 77 days, we've served over 354 clients so far and given away over 5,000 diapers, wipes, formula, thousands and thousands of pieces of apparel for the parents that are here in Hemet. We have centers in Temecula, Hemet, and Palm Desert. And I can say that our center in Hemet is absolutely growing with people who have need. I'd like to let you guys all know who we are, what we're doing. The governor has raised a lot of questions in regards to pregnancy centers, as has our Senate and our Congress of the United States, to try to vilify us and make us look like we're people who want to harm women's reproductive health. And that couldn't be further from the truth. There can't be only one side to a situation. Abortion is free and available to everybody, but what also needs to be available to them is options that if they don't want to choose abortion, they have the help to be able to be empowered to be parents, or provide their child to an adoptive family who can love that child so that they can make a choice that they can live with. I'd like to let you guys know we have parenting services. We also have reproductive grief and loss care. That is a growing service that's within our centers right now, because people are really struggling with the difficulty of the decisions they've made in the past, and they want some help overcoming them. I just want you guys to avail yourselves of our services, let you know we're here. We want to be a help to the community. And I would just love to see that Hemet would stand beside the idea that everybody, just like the previous commenter said, has the unalienable right to life. And that's a part of the fabric of our Constitution. There isn't just one side to this story, and women and men, they need help. And they would like to have help from people who care about them and aren't here just to be able to gain financial income from them. All of our services are free. We ask nothing of our clients whatsoever, and we want to help them to be able to find the resources they need so they can be proud parents. So I just wanted to let you guys know we're here, and I'd love to be able to give you guys a tour of our center anytime you guys would like to see it.
Thank you, Jeanette. And finally, Norm Kairos.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and staff. My name is Norm Kairos. I'm a resident of the city of Hemet, and I bring some news from the foothills overlooking the wonderful city here from the Ramona Bowl Amphitheater. And I just want to say that everything that Santa said, I agree with. So thank you very much. No, no, it's nice to be able to work with Casa Loca for the first time. I think it's going to bring a tremendous value to what we're doing up there, Boo at the Bowl, which is October 28th, 29th, and 30th. So get down to the Candy Corner on the 27th and then visit us up there at the Bowl. So I think this gives a great opportunity for our local residents here to stay here and enjoy our valley instead of going out to other locations. It's going to be a nice family-friendly event. And then if you want something a little scarier, then we'll send you down to Santa, down into our amphitheater. So it's going to be a great event. Also want to bring out some other news too. We're going to have a Christmas event up there too on the 9th and the 10th. So just mark that down on your calendars. The exciting news, the Christmas event at the Ramona Bowl, that's on the December 9th and December 10th in the evening. And we are open for, we're going to have it decorated. So keep us in mind if you're looking for some private parties up there. What I do want to talk about a little bit is the Ramona pageant. We're celebrating our 100th season. We get one chance to make this right. And we are, gosh, meetings after meetings after meetings, strategizing, collaborating with tremendous amount of people here in the local community. It's just, it's amazing that everybody's flocking up there. They want to get behind this, support us. One thing that we will be announcing as of this Friday, but just to give you a heads up, our tickets are available now. If you want to go and buy tickets, you can go to etix.com and you can start purchasing your tickets. As of Friday, we're going to let the public know about that. So if you want some good seats, get them now. I already talked to Teresa Seaton today, so she's going to be calling me tomorrow and getting her box seating. But the Ramona pageant, again, we have one opportunity for this as a community. This is something that we're going to draw a lot of interest from just outside of Hemet, San Jacinto. It's going to be across the country, and it's going to be very special. So just wanted, I'll give you periodic updates of what's happening with the Ramona pageant, but I hope everybody could get their tickets and be prepared for not just a play, but pageantry this year. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Norm. All right, we will now move to presentations. First, we're going to begin with Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Can I have Dr. Stanley Shanky approach the dais?
Is it on? It is on. Dr. Shanky, hi. Hi. I have a proclamation for you. It says Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Whereas Breast Cancer Awareness Month is a worldwide annual campaign in October involving thousands of organizations to highlight the importance of breast cancer awareness, education, and research. And whereas, according to the Centers for Disease and Prevention, breast cancer is the second most common cancer among women, and that about 1 out of every 100 breast cancer diagnosed in the United States is found in a man. And whereas Breast Cancer Awareness Month is an opportunity to unite all citizens in our community to encourage early detection through increased education and regular screenings. And by educating ourselves and supporting innovative research, we will improve the quality of life for all Americans affected by breast cancer and one day defeat this terrible disease. And whereas during National Breast Cancer Awareness Month, we stand with those who have been affected by this disease, and we recognize all who have joined their loved ones in fighting this battle, as well as the advocates, researchers, and healthcare providers whose care and hard work give hope to those with breast cancer. Now, therefore, Malcolm Lilienthal, Mayor of the City of Hemet, along with the Hemet City Council, do hereby proclaim the month of October as Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I present this to you on behalf of all of us, and to say that last year I received the proclamation because I have breast cancer and I will be a survivor. So would you like to say it?
I've been in the Valley about 33 years here. It's really been a pleasure just and a privilege to take care of all the patients in this valley. And it's not me just take care of those patients. I'm part of a group, hematology oncology consultants, Dr. Sagal and Dr. Mendoza with me. We have a staff of about 30 to 40 people. We have outstanding nurses, all of them with about 15, 20 years as oncology nurses plus. Breast cancer is a very difficult disease. Obviously, many women die from it. Many women are also cured of breast cancer. Things are getting better. They are getting better by leaps and bounds. It is stunning how fast things are changing and how much better treatments are getting at this time. Just in the last year, there were 4 about really major breakthroughs that took place in terms of treating breast cancer, where the cure rate is going up because of the recent treatments that have just come out. I think a couple of those most spectacular things that have happened, people are probably aware of hearing about immunotherapy, how it helped Jimmy Carter when he had metastatic melanoma to his lung, liver, and brain, and was treated with immunotherapy and had a complete response rate and cure of his disease. That has changed melanoma from a 5% chance of cure at 5 years up to about 50 to 55%. Well, now we're using immunotherapy for breast cancer as well. We've finally been able to identify that the most aggressive subtype of breast cancer, something called triple negative breast cancer that doesn't respond to hormones, doesn't seem to respond to treatment with chemotherapy alone just as well, or targeted treatments against HER2 new breast cancer, that immunotherapy works, and it does the cure rate when you give it up front for a woman who's just been diagnosed and had breast cancer. The problem is with those really aggressive 10 to 15% of breast cancers that have a tumor about that size and no spread to any lymph nodes, we know 1/3 of those women despite having chemotherapy. And now that we can give immunotherapy, a lot more of those women are actually being cured. That's just one of the spectacular things that has happened in breast cancer. I think one of the other things that's been dramatic in cancer just in the year is that targeted therapies are getting better. Targeted therapies, meaning antibodies which are developed to go after a target in the cancer. And basically the antibody is linked with a protein to a very deadly type of chemotherapy. And that antibody drags the chemotherapy drug into the cancer itself to a target. And when it gets into the cancer cell, that little protein dissolves and releases a very potent chemotherapy drug. And by doing that, we've seen really spectacularly high responses, even like in stage 4 breast cancer when it's spread to other places. For those women who have metastatic breast cancer and have a HER2 neu positive breast cancer, we can get an 80% chance that the tumor will shrink down substantially. And now for the first time with those targeted drugs for those women, about 30% of those women have a complete response. This is stage 4 disease spread to the bone, liver, lung, that the disease will disappear in all those different places. So things are getting much better. And for women who might have breast cancer and struggling with it, I encourage you to really keep fighting, make yourself available for those treatments that might help you out. So again, my pleasure to humbly accept this. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor, for your service. Next, we have Emotional Wellness Month. Can I have Miss Lilienthal join me? As a therapist here in the Valley, we notate that there are 6 human needs, one being certainty, another being uncertainty, and that sounds counterproductive, but the uncertainty stands for variety. And so, and then you have love and contribution, you have growth, and then you have significance. And then, was that 6? I think so. Growth and contribution. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to present several certificates to women in the Valley who have answered one of those when it comes to emotional wellness. And so I'm going to read this proclamation off, and then I'm going to allow Ms. Lilienthal to bring those women up and so that they can be recognized for their efforts in the community. And so, whereas emotional wellness is essential to everyone's overall health and well-being, and whereas all Americans experience times of difficulty and stress in their lives, and whereas emotional wellness is the ability to successfully handle life stresses and adapt to change in difficult times by building resilience, reducing stress, quality sleep, practicing mindfulness and coping skills, and by strengthening social connections. Practicing emotional wellness through various activities and social networks can offset the burdens from everyday stressors. And that's what you'll see recognized tonight with these women. The City of Hemet Council supports every effort to improve emotional wellness for all. And so now, therefore, be it resolved that myself, along with the rest of the Hemet City Council, do hereby proclaim October 2022 as Emotional Wellness Month in the City of Hemet, and call upon all of its citizens to take an active approach in their emotional wellness for overall health.
Thank you, Mayor and Council, for allowing this proclamation to be. So when I call you ladies, would you please come up front? Is Pastor Melissa Dawn Swizigan? If I botch your first name up, please forgive me. Pastor Jamelia Kearney Taylor, please come forward. This certificate of recognition presented to Pastor Jamelia, am I right? Kearney Taylor for assisting others in improving their communities through volunteer programs, social groups, and community outreach. You are someone who influences and stimulates others to effect positive changes through personal development or self-improvement within the city of Hemet. Presented to you on the 11th day of October in the year of 2022. You're very welcome. So can you please give me- Okay, we have Miss Penelope Ingard. Please forward. Precious woman of God, very, very historian. Come on up, Miss Penelope. Certificate of recognition presented to Penelope Engard, an individual who assists others in improving their communities through leading lectures on the history of Hemet, the city of Hemet, and your contribution to the body of knowledge surrounding the origins of the city of Hemet and how it has grown since its inception in 1910. Presented on the 11th day of October in the year 2022. Thank you, Ms. Clark. Thank you so much. Ms. Clark, right here. You stand right here. Would Heather Miranda please come forward? Certificate of recognition presented to Heather Miranda in acknowledgement of your commitment to serving others and your community through humble leadership. Presented on 11th day of October in the year 2022. Thank you so much, Heather, for your service. Would Julie Ann Smith come forward, please? Julie Ann Smith. Thank you. Certificate of recognition presented to Julie Ann Smith in acknowledgement of your commitment to serving others and your community through humble leadership. She defines the meaning of the word volunteer as she is as a very passionate volunteer. When given a mission, she is committed no matter what the obstacle get in her way. Presented on the 11th day of October in the year 2022. Thank you so much.
All right. I do want to recognize, so there was a pastor, Melissa Dawn Swizik, and a Vernus who could not make it this evening. So not only on behalf of the city council do we want to recognize You precious women, but we also do want to recognize you at the county level.
Thank you, Mayor. So all of you, I got some really nice certificates for you too, but I'm going to tell you, these are crazy times today. They're really, no, they really are. They're crazy times. And anybody that has any emotional wellness, anybody that's, I'm going to tell you, you're the anchor. All of you are keeping all of us from going off a cliff. No, I say that seriously. It is crazy time. You turn on the TV, you listen to all the problems, you see them everywhere. But this is the kind of thing that brings us back for where we need to be. So with that, I will give you each the one. Here we go. If I get your names. Heather. There you go. And basically, it doesn't say all the whereases. It's just a really nice one put up on the wall. And every time you look at it, remember how you're saving the world. Julie, there you go.
Thank you.
Penelope, I think you're a little bit of trouble too, from what I'm seeing here. Okay, so it's nice that you've been emotionally well, but I can tell by the twinkle in your eyes. There you go. And Pastor, for everything you do. Here you go. Is it Jermevia? That's a beautiful name. There you go. And thank you all.
And then one more final recognition at our state level from Ms. Ochoa's office.
Good evening, and thank you everyone for allowing me the opportunity to present certificates on behalf of Senator Ochoa Bogal. Try to keep this short because I don't speak much, and I'm sure everybody's pretty eager to get on with the rest of the city council meeting. So I just want to say thank you for all the leadership and guidance and everything you do for this community. They owe you a lot.
One more round of applause.
Well, speaking of emotional support, I think any of us that have ever had a pet can attest to the fact that they bring us an awful lot of emotional support. So could I have Grant and Amber join me up here, please? And this proclamation is for Adopt a Dog Month. Whereas October 1981, the American Humane Society founded Adopt a Dog Month in response to the growing number of dogs and puppies entering shelters every year. And whereas in our community, there are an average of 100 to 150 dogs awaiting responsible owners and safe homes on any given day. And whereas animal shelter employees and volunteers in our community work endlessly and tirelessly to care for homeless dogs as they await adoption. And whereas dogs make wonderful additions to a family unit by providing affection, companionship, and comfort by getting us outdoors for exercise and helping us build social connections and community bonds. And whereas our community recognizes the benefits of a four-legged friend and the happiness and joy that they bring to a household. Now, therefore, Malcolm Lilienthal, Mayor of Hemet, along with the Hemet City Council, do hereby proclaim the month of October 2022 as Adopt a Dog Month in the city of Hemet and encourage our fellow citizens to support our local animal shelters through adoption or donation. So my pleasure to present that to Amber and Grant, and say a word.
Well, first, we want to start with a big thank you to the mayor and city council for the proclamation of Adopt a Dog Month. As mentioned, there are hundreds of dogs waiting every day for wonderful families, maybe just like all of you. We're really excited and thankful to be a part of the community of Hemet. And our main adoption center is located here on the corner of State and Florida. So we love being a part of the middle of Hemet. We bring in hundreds of volunteers, hundreds of foster homes to our community, with nearly 3,000 adoptions done last year in 2021. We're really proud of the hard work that we are doing. We work 7 days a week, regularly 12 to 14 hours a day. We partner with lots of amazing community service programs here in the Valley. One of our at-risk youth is one of my absolute favorite. We've partnered with 4 different at-risk youth and foster home organizations to provide outlets for some of the kids to come in and learn how to love and take care of animals. It honestly is my very favorite program that we do. We're working on starting up a reading program with some of our kids. So some after-school programs where our kids can come in and read to the animals and spend some time learning about animals as well. We also work with adult special needs programs. We have them come in on a regular basis. We have a couple of different outreach programs with our homeless community that we work with as well. So we're really excited to really integrate our community into the life-saving efforts that we put forth here. We adopt animals all over Southern California. So San Diego County, Orange County, Riverside County, San Bernardino County, we're on the move everywhere, and everything really starts here in Hemet, here at our adoption center. So we bring all those wonderful people here, teach them how amazing it is, and then send them out. So again, we can't say thank you enough for proclaiming October as Hemet's Adopt a Dog Month, and we're really excited to be involved. So thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you so much for all you do.
Thank
you. And we have another proclamation. This is Water Professionals Appreciation Week. So Travis, can I put you on the spot and bring you up here? Travis is our city staff water specialist. While Travis is coming up here, so this is Water Professionals Appreciation Week. Whereas water is one of the most valuable economic and environmental recreational resources, and whereas water is critical to maintaining public health protection, economic vitality, fire protection, and quality of life, and whereas the city of Hemet and local water agencies collaborate to meet the needs of the community's water, wastewater, and recycled water requirements, and whereas Water Professionals Appreciation Week is intended to highlight the important role of water industry professionals and local public water agencies in ensuring safe and reliable water, wastewater, and recycled water in California. And whereas the city of Hemet appreciates the care put into the day-to-day operations of the community's most valuable resource, now therefore Malcolm Lilienthal, Mayor of Hemet, along with the Hemet City Council, do hereby proclaim October 1st through the 9th, 2022 as Water Professional Appreciation Week, and urge all residents to recognize and appreciate the vital services provided by our water professionals across all agencies. I think it's really important, if you haven't ever given a thought, just ask somebody sometime, where does our water come from? And a lot of people just say, well, I just turn on the tap and it comes out. But there's an awful lot that has to go on behind the scenes to get the potable water, and we take it for granted. And third world countries don't have the luxury of that kind of resource. So we really rely on people like Travis and his staff to do that. So Travis, my pleasure to present that to you. And you want to say a few words?
Thank you all. This is just not our community. This goes to our neighboring agencies, the guys that work in the trenches all across the country and in the world. It takes a lot of work just to get that water out of your tap, and I appreciate all your guys' for all those things.
Yeah, I am standing up. Come on. Thanks.
Okay, next, can I have Fire Prevention Officer Ed Clark and Battalion Chief Greg Lloyd? I have a proclamation for Fire Prevention Week. All right, I'm going to try not to butcher this too much, but it is Fire Prevention Week, and I heard we had a nice fire last night. So unfortunately, someone lost their home. The city of Hemet is committed to ensuring the safety and security of all those living and visiting our city. Fire is a serious public safety concern locally and are at the greatest risk from fire. Home fires kill more than 2,770 people in the United States in 2019, according to the National Fire and fire departments in the United States and 500 home fires. And smoke alarms and alerting you to as little as 2 minutes to escape the fire safely. Smoke alarms that are cut, they cut the risk of dying in reported home fires in half. Hemet residents should be residents who have planned and practiced a fire escape plan are more prepared and will therefore be. And whereas the first responders are dedicated to reducing the occurrence of home fires and home fire injuries through prevention and protection. And let's see, and so therefore, Mayor of the City of Hemet, along with the Hemet, do hereby proclaim this week. And along with that, I want to remind you guys that Saturday is the fire open house at Fire Station 1, right next to the library. If one's welcome to attend, there'll be lots of activities for kids and food and little goodies for sale. All right, thank you.
Show of hands, who sleeps at night with their door open? Bedroom door open. One of the one of the things that you want to might make or keep at forefront of your mind is if your door is closed, then it's less likely that the fire will get into your room if your house was to ever catch on fire. So it creates a barrier. It makes it easy for the smoke to get into your room and fire to get into your, if you sleep with your door closed. And we've seen all kinds of examples of the entire house was burned down, but the master bedroom was safe because that door was closed. Does that make sense? So just keep that in mind. Now we're going to move to receive and file. Want to receive both of these? So moved. Then we'll move to item number 14. Consent calendar. All consent calendar items will be acted upon simultaneously unless requested by an individual council member. Are there any council members that would like to pull an item
Mayor, could I make a request? 14E should be a discussion item.
Change it to 14, 15J.
We will change it to 15J. 15E.
Thank you.
Does anyone want to pull anything?
Yes, on item 14A, that should not be voted on until after 14F because there's other things that need to be done. And I would like to pull 14B, 14D, and 14F. Okay, you just pulled all of mine, so I agree with those. A, B, D, and F.
Mayor, with that, I'd like to move approval of the remaining consent calendar items.
Seems to be C, E, G, H, and I. Do I have a second?
Not E. E is discussion. D, E, G, H, I.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Council, please cast your votes. That's motion by Councilmember Brown, second by Councilmember Krupa, to approve the consent calendar with the removal of items A, B, D, F, and E for separate consideration. That motion passes 5-0.
All right. 14B.
Okay, on 14B, can we have the staff report on that?
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Veronica Allen with the City Manager's Office on 14B.
Do you want to give us a little bit of background on what 14B is about?
The city is applying for HUD, Housing and Urban Development Grant application for older adults home modification grant. This is similar to the program the city already has on the senior and disabled home repair program. So we have about 130 households that are on the wait list, and this grant will eliminate that wait list if awarded. The grant requires that the city hire an occupational therapist, and also required is annual training for the program manager and the occupational therapist. The city is applying for an amount of $949,850, and that includes the training and the cost of a part-time OT specialist. This is age-based, so they have to be seniors, 62 years and older, and income-based.
Okay, one of the questions I have, so all the money will be is already spoken for? Is that correct?
Yes.
Because of the waiting list that we have. And so if we have other people that would be willing to be on this waiting list, I mean, are there ways for people to apply to be on this? How does that happen? I think this is a really good program. And so I think it's important for us to let people know what we're doing and how to be involved in that. I know we have seniors that live at Oak Terrace Apartments that need some help with some items, I don't know, if just for daily living, I suppose. And I don't know if they would be able to apply, but they are definitely seniors with a lower income.
The program is for homeowners, but we do have the CDBG, the Community Development Block Grant funding that's available for the senior and disabled home repair program that can cover rental homes.
Right. With that, I would like to move approval on this. Oh, I have a
Sorry.
question. And I agree with Carly. This is a good program. But when it only goes to homeowners, we have a lot of people who are renting their homes that are substandard and need help like this. And if we can figure out some way to get some additional funding for that, would be great. But I also have a question, with the 130, or I should say with this grant, are there certain census tracts in town that this applies to? Or is this the entire city?
This is the entire city and it's income based and not
Income
census
based, but
tract
you have to
based.
own your own home. Okay. Thank you.
Do I have a second to Carly?
Second.
Council, please cast your votes. Motion by Mayor Pro Tem, second by Councilmember Brown. That motion passes 5-0.
14D.
Okay, on 14D, I have a bunch of questions on this. This was an accident, and apparently the coverage of the person that crashed into our Hemet Monument sign, their coverage did not cover the entirety of the bill. Is that correct? And so we're going to have to pay an extra $19,250. Is there any way to recuperate those funds? I mean, we're not just, you know.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I might be able to answer that. Spoke with the chief about this incident earlier today. There's two possible ways for us to recoup the additional amount of money depending on the nature of the traffic accident. If we're looking at something that had criminal liability, so, you know, a DUI where they crashed into our infrastructure, one of the things I've had success with is having the judge in the criminal case add reparations to the city as part of their plea agreement or any judgment in the criminal case. If it's purely a civil matter, so negligence, they, you know, just mishandled the vehicle and crashed, we can look at filing a small claims on behalf of the city to recuperate that difference. We're getting the documentation pulled to find out. I believe this may be in a CHP area. So we're going to have to do some cooperation with them, but it's not overly complicated, and that's something that's in progress.
So is this something that we would table for till next time or until we get the information?
No, I think you can proceed, and we have direction to go try to recoup the rest of that money. And if we do, we'll let you know.
All right, then I Can I make a go comment ahead. on that one? You know, that sign it's a beautiful sign on the west side of town out by Four Seasons. But unfortunately, it says, "Welcome to Hemet, home of Diamond Valley Lake." It has no mention of the Ramona Bowl. And as we heard tonight, Ramona pageant at the Ramona Bowl is celebrating its 100th anniversary. It is the oldest, it is the official outdoor play of the state of California. It is the longest running outdoor play in the United States. And it basically was one of the main reasons people came out here. They used it as PR to lure people to this wonderful valley. And is there any way we can add either the Ramona pageant or the Ramona Bowl to that sign when it is remade?
I think this is where we can put Ramona up there. And what you were discussing.
So that's, I'm throwing it out there because I've heard so many people say, wow, that's really great. It says Diamond Valley Lake, but what about Ramona? What about the Ramona Bowl? Ramona's been here since 1923, you know? So is that something we as a council can consider? And would it add, how much extra cost would it take, or can we cut a deal? And the other question is, that brings us back to the annexation, because the biggest argument is that it's not in the city, and I understand, but yeah. Neither one of them are in the city. Right. Well, part of the lake is, yeah. But absolutely. So, I mean, I'm throwing it out there because if we're going to be spending money to replace that sign because it is tilted, let's do it right, and let's have the two biggest attractions in this valley on the sign.
Anybody want to second her?
Yeah, I would like to second that, but I still think we should put Ramona out there.
That's what I'm saying, Ramona.
No, Ramona.
Oh, no, we're talking.
The
She-
statue.
She's going somewhere else as soon as Terry comes up with the money.
All right.
So what do we do with this? And now I'm looking at people down at that end that are above my pay grade.
Oh, sorry, I don't have my glasses on, so I couldn't see.
Oh,
if
you
you're
couldn't
looking at
see?
The mayor looking at.
Did
me.
you make a motion to add Ramona on there?
I would like to see, I think we need to add either, and I don't know the wording, either the Ramona Bowl, home of the Ramona Bowl, home of the Ramona pageant. I don't know.
100th
Pageant.
anniversary, 100th anniversary year or something.
Well, that gets into a lot of specifics, but it just home, because it's home. This is when it's advertised, it says Hemet. When they're going to be in the Rose Parade, it's going to be, they are from Hemet, California. And this will be the fourth Rose Parade that Ramona Bowl will be in.
I have a question for city attorney. If we, as this sign's been damaged for quite a while, and I understand that even though it appears to be okay, it definitely is tilted, and we found that the foundation is beyond repair, so the whole thing has to be redone. Can we approve going forward and accepting the funding from the insurance company and pursuing the difference? Obviously, if we embellish and, I mean, the bid was based on replicating the sign, correct?
That would be a good question for Public Works, but I'm certain
That
that's
is correct. Yes. Replace in kind.
This is what change orders are for.
And I do have a 10% contingency already built in. That's included in the 19,200.
So Ramona pageant.
And you can send it to the infrastructure committee for design.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
You can send it to the Good point. It infrastructure can go committee to for the design. infrastructure committee for design. Commission, yeah, commission. And all of you can come and give input and give your opinions. That's what it's for. So you're going to have a job. A motion and a second? Was that a motion and a second? Was that?
So the motion is to accept the funding and refer the refinement or revisions of the sign to the infrastructure commission?
If that's what you want to do, this would be a good question for the Public Works Director. Could they simply approve the entire project with the direction that they want to add the reference to the Ramona pageant, and you could proceed with under a change order?
We could, yeah. And we
You
could
could
get a
approve
quote for
resolution
adding.
Okay.
And with the direction to add Ramona pageant, and if he ends up needing more money, I'm sure he'll be back.
But the actual design and what it would look like could go to the infrastructure committee so that they can, I mean, there's a picture. Isn't there a picture on it now? Yeah. And I don't know if you want, the design of it, I mean, is it all in words?
Do we want to add just the lettering similar to the Diamond Valley Lake or?
A good question for the infrastructure committee.
Commission.
Commission.
Yes, I can take it to the next meeting for input.
So confirming we're going to add on to home of Diamond Valley Lake, home of the Ramona pageant.
Right.
So both of those.
All right. We got a motion and a second.
Council, please cast your votes. That motion passes 5-0.
All right, 14F. Let's see. This is a great one. We need a strawzall czar or a plastic fork czar. I pulled this just so I can vote no because I don't like when the governor gives us rules and then he doesn't want to compensate for his goofy decisions. So whoever wants to talk about this, you guys can, but that's why I pulled this to vote no.
Well, I was going to comment on it, so thank you for pulling it. I totally agree. I think of all the issues that are facing the state and the county and the city, having to come up with an enforcement agency to deal with people giving out straws that were not requested or
Plastic
stir
forks.
sticks that were not requested. I understand that it is a law that was passed and that we have to comply, but I would certainly hope that the enforcement of this would assume a very low priority of our code enforcement. There's plenty of other more important things, in my opinion, that we need to be spending their time on, and this would be probably at the very bottom of any list that I could come up with of important things to be doing. But I certainly agree that code enforcement would be the logical place. I don't think our police officers or firefighters need to be enforcing this, but I understand that we must do it. But I agree with my colleague that it's another example of an unfunded mandate coming down out of Sacramento.
So my question is, would we call this code enforcement agency when they forget to add the chopsticks to the to-go order? Because that's more important than giving me extra.
It's yes,
Okay. I'm done.
I think I've said my piece.
And I agree with all of it. I mean, it's absolutely insane. If you go through a fast food and you forget to say, I want a fork with my baked potato, they're not going to give you a fork. And if they do give it to you without asking for it, they could be subject to fine. Let Governor Newsom come down here and give out damn fines. And I want to vote no too, but I know a city attorney is sitting there going, you know, I'm bringing this to you because legally the city has to do this. Well, I think right now this law does not impose any fines against a city who fails to enforce this. So to enforce, but we have to have the enforcement agency listed. Nice. Is that correct?
So
That is correct.
so we identify them, and
We identify
it
them
would
and
be
let it drop.
it would be subject to complaint response only.
I think so. You know, other communities that I've, dealt with on this particular issue have had a similar response to you, that they have very serious health and safety issues within the community, and someone getting an extra straw is not high up on the list. It would be great to get there, where that's our biggest problem that we're facing. But I did think that it was important to include that in the staff report that, you are required to designate an enforcement agency. The city is not required to go out and actually enforce this law if we have other things that we need to use our limited code enforcement resources for. That being said, you'll notice that all the national chains, I noticed several of them are putting up signs already along Florida, so they're already beginning to implement this. But I do expect that it would probably not be something that we would be spending a lot of time on at this point.
All right, do I have some kind of motion?
I will reluctantly move approval of designating our code enforcement division as the enforcement arm of this ludicrous law.
We have a second?
Come on, Joe, go ahead and
No,
second it.
not me. Not on.
You want to vote no
Go
too?
ahead, go ahead.
I want to vote no too.
I can only have two of you.
I know. Okay. Or else what? He's going to come visit us? I will grudgingly second it.
Council, please cast your votes. A motion by Councilmember Round, second by Councilmember Krupa.
Grudgingly.
That motion passes 4-1. Mayor Pro Tem Meyer voting no.
All right, moving to our first discussion item. That's it. Oh, 14A. All right, so 15A, our first discussion item. Discussion and action on city treasurer vacancy.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, Honorable Mayor, members of the council, today before you is item 15A, discussion and action on city treasurer vacancy, including appointment of a qualified individual to fill the vacancy. And I wanted to provide just a little brief background. The city clerk's office actively solicited applications through advertisements in the press enterprise, social media, flyers, and printed out applications to be distributed at City Hall. We also printed out flyers at the library and City Hall as well. Through this process, we received several calls, an email inquiry, and one final qualified candidate. For full disclosure, the resulted calls and email inquiries were potential applicants from outside the city's limits. Therefore, they did not qualify. Also, per council direction, we reached out to the former applicant and he was not interested at this time. The applicant before you for consideration who is qualified is Lori Van Arsdale. Should the council wish to proceed with Ms. Lori Van Arsdale, I will need a nomination motion in a second, then a roll call vote.
I have another candidate who wanted to switch from the Measure U committee over into the city treasurer by the name of Dale Dillman.
Is he here tonight? Or her?
But it was somebody I wanted to nominate because of his background.
I have Dale Dillman on the Zoom call.
I think we should wait 7 months like we did for Measure U and put it out on the newspapers and wait until we get a handful of people to sign up for the position.
City clerk, can you give some clarification on what happens?
The city council has 60 days from August 25th, 2022 to fill the vacancy by appointment or call a special election to fill the vacancy. The 60 days expires on October 24th, 2022.
What happens if what happens after that?
You'd have to choose to either appoint someone or call for a special election. And the special election, citywide election, would cost approximately $160,000 and $160,500.
Boys and girls, what do you want to do?
You don't want to have a
Interview?
special election. Can't afford that. I'm sorry? Oh.
I made it.
For what? What was
To
your
appoint
motion?
him.
Oh, Dale? I'll second it.
Council, please cast your votes.
Okay.
Malcolm and Mike both think he's good. I think. Oh, Dale Dillman?
He had them out.
I didn't catch the last name. I trust him with my life. I didn't catch the last name until I read it. Okay. That was a good man. Very honest, very.
Let's
Got a motion and a second, we vote?
Still waiting on one vote. That motion passes 4-1 with Councilmember Krupa voting no.
Next, we have 15B, appointment of Measure U Citizen Oversight Committee. You have a staff report on this one?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes. So in addition to the, I adjust here. I'll start off. On September 27th, the council requested that the city clerk solicit additional applications for Measure U Oversight Committee. A total of 3 applications were received in addition to the 2 on file. The applicants include Stacy Olson, George Schaefer, Jerry Ann Franklin, Felicia Young, and Dale Dillman. I have only confirmed 3 of the 5 that are present, and 2, Felicia Young and George Schaefer. If you're either on the Zoom call, raise your hand, or live, raise your hand. Thank you. I do need to note for the record that we did receive Dale Dillman's application over the weekend after the posting of the agenda, and I provided a correspondence to the city council. So that's at the dais and outside for the public. And so,
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, I didn't hear you.
Oh, I'm
you
sorry.
too? I thought it was me.
I'm sorry. So we received basically 5 applications that are up for consideration. George Schaefer, Jerry Ann Franklin, Felicia Young, Stacy Olson, and Dale Dillman. And I have 4 of the 5, I believe, that are present either on the Zoom call or in the audience that are available for questions should you want to interview them.
Let's begin with these interviews.
You want up first?
City Clerk, can you call each one up for us?
Absolutely. Thank you, Mayor. Stacy Olson, George Schaefer, Jerry Ann Franklin, Felicia Young, and then I have Dale Dillman on the Zoom call.
So first, Stacy Olson.
Are there questions? Do we have questions?
Yes. Do you guys have questions for Ms. Olson?
I'll start. Hi, I'll call you by your right name tonight. Okay. Okay. You have to call me by my right name. Will do. Okay. Why do you want to be on Measure U committee?
Just for the sake of accountability. I don't feel that it has been balanced properly. So I'd like to get in there and give my voice to it.
Closer. I can't.
You want to ask a question or can I come? Okay. Take that just one step further. I mean, what do you mean? What hasn't been presented?
What do you mean what hasn't been presented?
Well, you said
accountability.
Accountability.
Yeah.
From whom?
What do you
accountability
mean?
In the accuracy of the statements that are presented, in the use of the funds? Where's the accountability not being presented?
The whole thing, the whole package, everything that was said that was going to be done, just holding it accountable to make sure it's done, making sure that there's a forensic audit, making sure that the items that were mentioned earlier are done, making sure that it's available on the website, just overall accountability.
Okay, thank you.
No other questions? Ms. Olson, can you talk about I don't know, your experience, just kind of give these people some certainty about what would happen when you get on the committee.
Well, first of all, one of the main things well, the only thing actually that is a qualification is that you're a Hemet resident.
Mhm.
So I'm qualified there. I've been living here consecutively now for 10 years, or actually more than that now. I originally moved here in 1987, and I was a resident for quite a number of years during that time before I moved, and then I moved back. I've been involved, as everyone knows, in pretty much a million different aspects of city, from homeless solutions to just about everything. I'm a regular either online or in person at council meetings. I've spoke numerous times. I keep a watchful eye on pretty much everything that is the Hemet, dealing with the city of Hemet. And I'm passionate about my community because I have a 14-year-old son, and that I raise here by myself as a single parent. So I want to make sure that this is the best environment that I could possibly give him, and trying to provide positive impact.
Tell me what's going to separate you from the other candidates.
I don't know the other candidates, so I couldn't tell you that. All I can tell you is that I'm passionate about being a positive force. I'm very honest. I don't get swayed by other people. Very independent. I'm an independent thinker. I'm a critical thinker. And it's whatever's in front of me. That's what I'm going to, if it says this is how it's supposed to be, then that's how I will vote, that this is how it's supposed to be. It's not personal at all.
Okay. Anybody else have any other questions?
When did you first put your resume in?
I believe it was March. It was about 7 months ago.
About 7 months ago?
Yes.
Okay. Waiting patiently.
I've called the city numerous times, just checking on it. I haven't just waited and forgotten about it. I've contacted the city a multitude of times. Hey, how's it going? Hey, how's that application? Hey, and it said it had to come to council. I'd call back. Well, it hasn't quite gone to council yet. So I waited some more, and then I would call back, and they would say, well, it still needs to go to council. And so I've just been waiting patiently for it to actually go to council. The first time that it was called to council, I was not informed until the day of. And as I said, I'm a single mom. I have a 14-year-old in football, so it was impossible for me to drop that responsibility to be present. But I did call in that afternoon because they were calling while I was at work, so I couldn't respond. But as soon as I got the message after work, I called the city clerk and told him, yeah, absolutely, but I can't be present, but I don't know what to do here. I'm interested, but I, at the last minute, cannot drop my son. So, yeah. And then I was present the last time, as you know, and I'm here again today. So I think I've shown myself to be interested. Persistent. That is a great word. Persistent. I'm very persistent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Mayor, I don't really have a specific question, but probably just an observation. Ms. Olson has been prominent by her presence at a number of city events. Seen her frequently here at the council meetings, just by her last comments about her perseverance in checking in. So I have no doubt that she's motivated and interested to participate in city governance in some fashion. So it's just an observation, not so much a question. You can disagree with me if you want.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Okay. Any other questions? Ms. Olson, can I have you have a seat?
Thank you, sir.
And then can I bring Mr. George Schaefer up?
Thank you. I come with a background of 16 years of running accounting departments, starting with Kaiser Steel. The last 20 plus years, I've been a computer consultant, auditing and installing accounting systems. I don't know much about Measure U. I'm coming in with no preconceptions. I just want to get involved with this city. That's it.
Are you also, or did you also put in your resume back in March?
Yeah.
So it's been 7 months
Yes.
in waiting, and you do have accounting background, so you're good with numbers then. Yeah.
That's pretty fair.
Yeah.
Better than fair.
Other
Answered
questions?
my question.
Okay.
Yeah, that was my
You
question.
answered
yeah.
my question. Thank
Oh, okay, thank you.
I read your minds.
Can I have Jerry Ann Franklin?
Hello. Ask away.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and why you want to be on the Measure U, and what would set you apart from Miss Olson and Mr. Schaefer?
Well, first off, a little bit about myself is that and obviously you guys don't know, even though I've come here several hundred times, I am a licensed paralegal, have been doing it since 2008. So I do know the laws. The only thing I did not do was become an attorney, and that was by choice because I didn't want to stand in front of the judges. I wanted to work behind the scenes and make sure that the laws were followed. One of the things that interests me about Measure U, and the thing that intrigued me to want to become part of the involvement of Measure U, is because I'm a firm believer in standing behind our police and fire department and making sure that the guidelines are followed, the structures are followed. And I believe in being fair. And when the law is put down and the rules are written, it's important for us to stick to those laws and those rules. And as a paralegal, I find that when the structure is there, we need to maintain it. We need to be held accountable. And it's not to cast blame. It's not for us to shun anybody, but to find resolution and to find the correct avenues that we're supposed to be taking. If there is a problem, we need to figure it out and find out where the problem arises. If there needs to be an audit done because there are funds being misused, being taken and put in the wrong place, we need to make that stop and put things back in place. And we need to work as a team to do that. This is not a one-man show. When you have a group brought together, it is working together as a group to keep things organized. You have the leaders and you have the followers, but all together we work as a unit. And I firmly believe in doing that. I don't believe in condemning people, but I believe in helping people come together and find the successful way to manage it. And that's with Measure U. It's one of the most important measures we have out there because it helps with our first responders. And those are the most important people. Now, Measure U is taking money from non-essential items. To some, they may be considered essential items. Some people are addicted to cigarettes. Some people are alcoholics, and they deem those to be essential items. However, that is not an essential item when it comes right down to it. So you're not taxing people for their toilet paper, and you're not taxing people for their food in order to fund the police and fire department. So it's very important to stay on top of that and realize we're keeping our first responders funded in a proper way. So that's why I want to be part of Measure U, because I want to be part of that team that keeps it keeps the support active for our first responders. And I want to make sure that it stays as a team. And I like to work as a team. And many of you have seen how I am when I come here. It's a positive energy, and I like to bring positive energy. I am not about negativity. I am about keeping a positive flow. So, and I hope that's what you want on the Measure U committee, because that's who I am and that's what I am. So.
Any questions for Ms. Franklin?
Nobody wants to dive into my brain and pick it. There's interesting stuff up there. Well, yes.
Thank you, Ms. Franklin.
Thank you very much. And I do hope you allow me to be on the Measure U.
Can I have Felicia Young?
Yes, good evening, City Council, Mayor. My name is Felicia Young. I've been a resident here now in Hemet for 14 years. When I moved to Hemet, the community of what I see now has changed, and it's made me look at things in a whole perspective way. I have a 13-year-old daughter that I advocate for. My ties with the community, I do volunteer a lot. I'm part of Kiwanis International, My City Youth, Hemet and San Jacinto Chamber. I do secretarial for my church, so my involvement, volunteer a lot. Girl Scouts, I'm a scout leader, so therefore we do a lot of things within the community. Also, we'll be at the fire station this weekend with our troop. So my importance within the community means a lot to me because I stay active, I stay involved, I like to know what's going on. So when I seen Measure U come up as a vacancy, I was like, okay, let me see. I read upon it and became familiarized in understanding the importance behind it. And it does play a significant role within our community because it deals with our fire and our life savers that are out there, the firefighters, which Station 3 is right down the street from my house. And they played a significant role in my life in 2016 when I went into cardiac arrest. I coded twice. And if it hadn't been for them, I probably wouldn't be standing here right now because they were able to pull me back and transport me to Hemet Hospital. And from there, my journey started. So that has a significant role in my ways of looking at things because Measure U, the funding, you know, I will have to learn more about it and see what goes on within that committee if I'm able to get onto the committee. But I know that our first responders and our police department are much needed. So the funding that goes in that direction for them makes it able for us as citizens within our community. So that was the reason that I applied, and I submitted my application and resume last week and got the call the next day, and now I'm here.
Any questions for Ms. Young? All right. Thank you, Ms. Young. All right, so here's how this is gonna work. Name on here. All right, so here's how this is gonna work. Santa, can I have you come to the dais? I want you council members to rank from 1 to 4, because there's only 4. I removed Dale because of obviously. but I want you to rank like, you know, for, don't worry about the words I'm using right now. Your favorite is 1, and then your least favorite is 4. So rank it in that order. And then he's going to draw a name out, and then you guys are going to tell me, depending on whose name is drawn, you guys are going to tell me who's your number 1. Okay. If that person is your number 1, if I get a second, then we'll move forward. If I don't get a second, I'm going to have him do it again. Does that make sense? Your eyes, Santa. Wait.
Hey, get out of his pants. Malcolm?
All right. Miss Krupa, who's your number 1?
My number 1 is George Schaefer.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that. Council, please cast your votes.
All right, uno más.
That motion passes 4-1. Mayor Pro Tem Meyer voting no.
All right, Miss Pro Tem, you're up.
My number 1 is Stacy Olson.
Who?
Stacy Olson.
I'll second. Oh, you gonna second it?
Oh, we'll both second it. She's my number 2.
I'll second it too.
Whoops. Council, please cast your votes. I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Meyer, second by Councilmember Krupa. Waiting on Mayor Pro Tem Meyer and Krupa.
Oh, mine disappeared.
That was Stacy Olson, right? I just want to make sure I heard it
That,
right.
that is correct. And that motion passes 5-0.
Okay, now I have a question. Since we since we did this, according to the staff report, and I believe according to the resolution or the ordinance that was passed in the everything, in the establishment of the committee, talks about 7 people. A majority of the committee members must be residents of the city of Hemet. It is further stipulated that a minimum of 4 members be residents of Hemet. 2 members shall be business owners with the principal place of business in the city of Hemet, and at least 1 member a resident within the city's sphere of influence. Does that mean that 2 of these 7 people have to own businesses in the city of Hemet?
That's your call, attorney.
So shall.
Understood. Which document are you referencing?
I'm looking at the staff report.
Staff report. Okay, I'm looking at the.
You're looking at the ordinance. What does it say in the ordinance? Because we need to be right on this.
Staff report's fantastic. I have no issue with it, but in looking simply at the ordinance,
Right.
what the ordinance says is the committee shall consist of 7 members, all of whom shall be residents of the city, reside in the sphere of influence, or own a business having its primary offices located within the city. Or own a business. Hold on. A majority. Let me finish. Hold on. So all of whom shall be residents of the city, of the sphere, or own a business having its primary offices located within the city. A majority of the committee shall be residents of the city. So 4 of the 7. It doesn't have anything else regarding specific
It
members.
doesn't stipulate that 2 of them have to be business owners in the city of Hemet.
Not in the ordinance.
Not in the ordinance. That's what I wanted to clarify.
That was just general guidelines.
Yes, so we are clear. You don't have to have a business in the city to be on this commission or this committee.
No, you either need to live in the city, live in the sphere, or own a business.
Very good. That's all I wanted to clarify, that we were okay with what we have just done.
All right. Infrastructure Committee.
Commission.
Do we have a staff report for that?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, a brief one. This is the appointment of commissioners to fill the 2 vacancies and reappoint 2 commissioners on the City of Hemet Infrastructure Commission. I do have to make one additional note for the record, and I do want to make a point of clarification. We did have one omission from the report, and I have included that staff correspondence highlighting the individual, Mrs. Connie Clark, for the record, to also be considered in this appointment process. And then the point of clarification, unlike the Measure U requires for an open public forum interview, while the infrastructure does not. So there's essentially no interviews that need to be conducted. They're at the liberty or, appointment of the council. And so before you have staff recommendations and another individual who may be considered by the council.
So I can make a motion to accept staff recommendation and appoint Jeffrey Moore and William Hendrickson to fill the vacant things and reappoint Robin Lowe and Raymond Sawyer for their terms going into 2024.
I'll second. Council, please cast your votes. A motion by Councilmember Krupa, second by Councilmember Males. That motion passes 5-0.
Moving to item number 15D. This is the resolution of City Council, acceptance of grant funding from Federal Emergency Management Agency in the amount of $7 million and some change.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, and members of the community. Fire Chief Eddie Sell, and I'm here tonight to discuss the acceptance of the SAFER grant in just north of $7 million that will provide 15 firefighters to add capacity to the Hemet Fire Department. So I'm more than happy to answer any questions. I also have members of my staff, and I also do want to recognize the fact that this has been a collaborative effort, and I certainly want to thank everybody, all the members of the Hemet Fire Department, our labor partners, and everybody for their cooperation during this application period.
And thank you, Chief, for bringing in the money.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to approve 15D. Can I ask some questions? I promise I'll get us out of here by 10. You need to talk to us more about what this is going to do.
Okay, and just for clarification, you did have the staff report as well, correct?
I did.
Okay.
Not everybody did.
Pardon me?
I said not everybody read in the audience. We're looking at a huge grant, which is going to add a lot of people.
Right.
And
I'm not
you
sure
and
which
I have
clicker.
talked, and you know a lot of my misgivings
Right.
because I've been through this one before, and I just I'd like to hear all of the good things that we can accomplish by going after this grant.
So thank you for that, council member. And if you can, we can start with strategic plan integration. So all of my actions and the actions of the command staff of the fire department, our guiding document is the strategic plan for the city of Hemet. So in looking at the strategic plan, we can see that quality of life is to increase public safety, visibility, and response. Clearly, this SAFER grant and adding 15 firefighters does that. Partnership and collaboration, increase public transparency for the public, increase the community's pride within the city, develop programs to offer support to the community's businesses, and deliver messaging to the community that connects and is consistent and relevant. And that's what our bureaus within the fire department and the individual men and women do. You can go back one, there we go. Economic opportunity, develop business practices that welcome new developments by streamlining processes, including fire inspections, and provide resources to help new businesses enhance the customer service experience.
Clearly, with more staff, we're able to add capacity in order to meet that economic opportunity goal. Organizational effectiveness, operate in a financially sustainable manner, elevate existing practices to ensure continuity with industry best practices, provide counsel with policies that help provide consistency and lessen liabilities, increase employee retention by training and creating a positive workplace, and streamline fire prevention coordination efforts. Community engagement, develop concepts and programs to enhance quality of life services like public safety, develop concepts and programs to increase opportunities for youth, including recreation and education activities, including the Fire Explorer program and the new high school public safety pathway program that we have here at Alessandro High School, and develop programs to offer support to community businesses. So what is a SAFER grant? So you could see this is a lot of verbiage right here, but basically SAFER stands for Staffing for Adequate Fire and Emergency Response Grants. So SAFER is given to different fire departments throughout the United States by the federal government. The federal government recognizes the need to add capacity to public safety and knows that there are a lot of underfunded communities throughout the United States. SAFER helps to add capacity by providing funding for frontline firefighters. As you can see, the goal of the SAFER is to enhance the local fire department's abilities to comply with staffing, response, and operational standards established by the National Fire Protection Association. And it talks about NFPA 1710 and NFPA 1720, which are standards, which is a global self-funded nonprofit organization established in 1896, devoted to eliminating death, injury, property, and economic loss due to fire, electrical, and related hazards. So why did we apply for the SAFER grant? So it starts with, your leadership and the direction of elected officials to look for grant opportunities. So this falls in line with looking for grant opportunities. The critical need for constant staffing of the Hemet Fire Department aerial ladder truck. Currently, we cross-staff our ladder truck, which is at Station 4 on Costin next to the airport. What that means is when a call comes in, the captain has to decide if they're going to take the fire engine that has water or the ladder truck that has a big aerial ladder on top. And they have specific functions of rescue, also the ability to reach any roof in the city of Hemet over 2 stories. And they also aid in various rescue activities when it comes to urban search and rescue, anything having to do with an earthquake, collapse of a building, and different disciplines that the truck company functions in. So to meet the needs of a continual increase in population with Hemet among 27 cities in Riverside County, and currently ranked as the 7th highest in population and 4th highest in the number of housing units, with new housing construction and new businesses with existing older structures and numerous target hazards. So again, we're trying to be mindful of the fact that a city our size, 90,000 plus people with all the complexities that we have, the thousands of new houses that are coming in, the millions of square feet of commercial real estate, a truck company is needed to be staffed 24/7, 365. This SAFER grant allows us to do that. An increase of staffing will also decrease firefighters' heavy workload, which minimizes firefighter burnout and reduces the risk of injuries and illness due to fatigue and behavioral health and wellness concerns. Studies performed by the U.S. Fire Administration and the NFPA talk about that they've concluded that many fire departments fall below minimum standards for personnel levels. According to these studies, the result of this shortfall can lead to inadequate response to different types of emergency incidents, substandard response times, and an increased risk of firefighter fatalities. The ladder truck will be used to distribute the high call volume that continues to grow each year, adding much needed capacity to an overtaxed system. Adding the ladder truck will help to achieve the city's strategic plan goal of reduced response times throughout our community. The Hemet Fire Department will be participating in the ISO survey process for the first time since 2004. ISO stands for Insurance Service Office. What they do is they actually go and they conduct a survey and they look at different things of a fire department in a city, including water supply, staffing levels, and training. And we haven't been rated since 2004. So we currently have a class 4 rating. The lower the number, the higher the level of your fire protection. So basically, we want to have a ISO rating of class 1 one day. And by adding this capacity, this is another step towards lowering that number. The lower number also equates to lower insurance rates for our residents and also our businesses. The Safer Grant funding will decrease overtime by adding positions to the Hemet Fire Department's paramedic squad, which is currently staffed using overtime funds. Under the Safer Grant program, only new additional full-time positions or positions intended to change the status of part-time or paid on-call firefighters to full-time firefighters will be funded. In either case, the positions must be above and beyond the budgeted number of positions at the time of application. And you can see this next bullet point, 29,700 of fire agencies. That includes volunteer, part-time, professional fire agencies. Only 10% of this group, fully professional fire agencies. The Hemet Fire Department is fortunate to have been one of the few selected nationwide to get this grant. Applications filed with FEMA are reviewed for possible awarding of the desired amount and reason. Once awarded, the funds are allocated for a specified amount of time, which is currently 3 years. So in our Safer Grant application, the request was funding for 15 additional firefighters to staff our aerial ladder truck full-time and our paramedic squad, which is currently staffed using overtime personnel. The Hemet Fire Department's current staffing configuration is 1 engine company at each of our 5 fire stations with 3 personnel. Fire Station 4, which I mentioned on Costin next to the airport, is cross-staffed with a ladder truck. The truck responds to structure fires, major traffic accidents, and technical rescues. The ladder truck is a specialized piece of equipment that allows for tactical advantage for forcible entry, ventilation, and aerial operations on scene of structure fires. The ladder truck has the ability to access roofs over 2 stories, hotels, hospital, apartments, etc. The current configuration of cross-staffing inhibits the Hemet Fire Department from meeting the NFPA 1710 standards for emergency response and obviously causes delays. Our Hemet Fire Department command staff plans to move the fully staffed ladder truck to Fire Station 1 in the downtown area for existing aging commercial buildings and newly constructed multi-level commercial buildings. The ladder truck's location will be advantageous and closer to the KPC Global Hospital, as well as other target hazards. Our command staff plans to move the current squad, the paramedic squad that's at Fire Station 1, over to Fire Station 3 on the west side of the city to increase capacity at one of the busiest districts within the city. FEMA has awarded the Hemet Fire Department $7,071,090 to be used over a 3-year period. The Safer Grant will enable the Hemet Fire Department to staff the ladder truck company full-time with 1 captain, 1 engineer, and 2 firefighter paramedics. This meets the NFPA 1710 standards for emergency response. So the response to FEMA, why we're here tonight, right? We have to either accept or decline the Safer Grant within 30 days of the dated email, which will be October 21st, 2022. So there was urgency in getting the staff report and everything ready to go for presentation to the council. Once the Safer Grant is accepted, the Hemet Fire Department will immediately implement a hiring plan, which will include firefighter paramedics and the new firefighter paramedic trainee pool that we actually have right now, including 5 trainees that we currently have in a fire academy, and may include a new lateral firefighter paramedic exam process, much like our police officer partners. The Hemet Fire Department will be proactive in placing candidates in local fire academies to prepare for the beginning of the Safer Grant period. So time period. Again, we've talked about the time period is 3 years, and the SAFER grant would actually start staffing March 2023 through March of 2026. What is our contingency plan to sustain the critical staffing after the 3-year period? So the Hemet Fire Department will reapply for the SAFER grant to continue funding the staffing model that was implemented for the 2023 to 2026 period. We will be looking far ahead of that date, though, and making sure that we are targeting that and ensuring that the second bullet point, for example, we continue to anticipate an increase in projected revenue, population growth with the thousands of additional homes and millions of square feet in commercial buildings that will continue to take place. The Hemet Fire Department has a robust fire prevention plan inspired by the city's strategic plan that will continue to be phased in and include never seen before cost recovery and inspection fees. The ladder truck will be part of this fire prevention plan, conducting inspections and public education programs. So when the ladder truck is not responding to calls, they will be out in the community daily performing fire inspections and community education. So continuing with the contingency plan and what happens after 3 years. During the last 7 years, 2015 through 2021, the SAFER grant program, there were 2,299 grants awarded nationally, with 48 fire agencies receiving 3 or more grants after this initial grant during this 7-year period. So what that means is basically Congress is renewing the SAFER grant a lot more frequently in 3-year cycles. That last bullet point, Congress is currently looking to eliminate the sunset of the SAFER grant funding to at least the year 2030. Okay.
I have a few comments to make.
Yes.
If you Google the SAFER grant and you go to the FEMA's website and you want to look at the history, if you're afraid of the money not being there, I don't know what your questions, unless you just want public education, but the city of Yuba City has received grants since 2015, all the way through this year. So they've gotten $2 million the very first year, and they continue to get the funding. So the government isn't going to try to set us up for failure. If you look through the history of what they've done, they have consistently given the grants to the cities that have applied. So I've been watching this for quite a while.
And my question was also, what are we going to do after the 3 years, but your last, whatever that thing's called, was up there, and it explained that. So I was happy to see that we can reapply after 3 years.
Not only can we reapply, but frankly, we're looking to be proactive, right? We're taking a proactive approach of making sure that we're sustainable. We're certainly tracking things that are happening in the city, but right now we're already at 18,000 calls for service a year, right? And that's with the workforce that we have. So call volume only continues to go up when you raise population. It's not that hard to figure out. So if we care about the workload, if we care about the behavioral health, if we care about the wellness, we certainly need to make sure that we're adding capacity to the system. This helps do that, and it gives us time to, also implement these programs that we just now put into place.
And I like to see the squad moving to 3, since 3 seems to be one of our busier stations. So
that's correct. Yes.
My radio's on all the time.
I know it is.
Well, thank you for that detail, because that is what is so important, not only for public education, but for as a reminder of council. And the fact that this will enable us to get a current ISO rating is absolutely paramount. That helps all the residents and all of businesses with lower insurance rates. So I really appreciate you being proactive in this. I had an unfortunate seat on this dais when we had some issues with renewing a SAFER grant. And I just really appreciate the fact that you are being proactive on this, that it will help not only staff the ladder truck, which is absolutely necessary, but it will get the programs going and relieve some of the overtime and fatigue for our firefighters. So thank you very much. I appreciate your presentation.
Thank you, ma'am. And I appreciate your comments. I'm a second.
He's the second. Job.
Thank you.
I voted.
Council, please cast your votes. I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Meyer, second by Councilmember Brown. That motion passes 5-0.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Chief. That means a lot to our fire department and to all of you. Thank you.
Now moving to item number 14E, which is now changed to 15. What? E?
Think we stay up here for this, huh? Yeah.
What are we on?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, 14, thank you.
My Vanna, thank you.
As well as 14A.
14A. Am I here for 14A? Oh, copy that, yeah.
So to the mayor's point, 14A implements adding the position to the class and compensation plan for the city. So if the council wanted to consider them at the same time, that's great, but you probably shouldn't go with 14A before you've done 15E. But you could do them at the same time if you want.
Okay. So we're doing 15E, correct? The discussion item from earlier?
Mm-hmm.
Fine group of people right there.
But yeah, it is a fine group of people. That's Some enough people in the audience.
Oh.
There's two separate songs. Okay, I apologize. It sounds like the PowerPoint's essentially the same. There's just a little format difference, but we can frankly, we can get through, we can do our best to get through that. City Clerk, and you did have one already. I just want to make sure that we're not changing one for one that was already submitted that did not look like this. It looked like the Hemet template.
It's in the agenda backup, page 325.
The actual PowerPoint, right?
Right,
Yeah.
correct.
Are you guys able to, are we able to pull that up on the screen for the folks? I think that's what's going on. Yeah. There, yeah. Mayor Pro Tem has it. So it is on there. It is attached to your staff report, the proper PowerPoint. I'm not, we're dealing with the technical difficulties and we'll get this corrected. While staff is working on this, so this item
you do have your staff reports with you, and this discussion item is regarding the creation of the Department of Life Safety. The Department of Life Safety is basically, it's an innovative approach to bringing together some existing departments and bringing them under the umbrella of public safety. So what the Department of Life Safety is proposing is essentially building and safety and code enforcement would move under the fire department in a new department, which is called the Department of Life Safety. Under that Department of Life Safety, if you can imagine, there's going to be 3 branches. I mentioned 2 out of the 3 so far. That's building and safety, code enforcement, and also fire prevention, which we would move under an existing program in the fire department under the Department of Life Safety. The reason why this is such a innovative and effective idea is it's a new approach to bringing agencies together that work hand in hand on many things, right? So there's a lot of overlap when you think about some of the city services. So by bringing it under the umbrella of the fire department, now you will have those 3 different divisions reporting to one newly created department head, which is going to be the chief building official / deputy fire marshal. This is a hybrid position which the city of Hemet has never had, and I'm really proud of the fact that that we're able to bring this together and bring this forward to you and to the community to make this experience better efficiency, management oversight that's 365 24/7, and so we're really eager to get started and work with our other community partners on many things that are happening right now that we feel that we can assist with the customer service and assist with our other community partners on various things that especially related to the strategic plan. Pardon me? Okay. We're getting close. So that's all the off the top of my head information. So I'm just kidding. We can, if you guys want to start asking anything that you saw in the staff report, a lot of people came together to make this happen. I want to thank our community development partners, also HR, finance, and everybody that looked at this collaborative approach of a reorganization within city government.
Well, while we're getting that going, if I could ask a question. When you talk about the person in charge, so to speak, it'll be the building official and the deputy fire marshal. Are there people out there with that joint experience in that that we can actually hire?
It's a good question. It's a unique skill set, but to answer your question, yes. People that were trained professionals that were on a track in the fire prevention, fire investigation pathways, they're also very familiar with building codes, fire codes. A lot of that, they go hand in hand. So a lot of people that have backgrounds and they're on a pathway to actually become a fire marshal, they have the requisite skill set and the minimum qualifications. And actually the job description is incredibly thorough, and that is also added in your packet as well in the staff report.
Mayor, I have a question. Following up on that, the classification chief building official / deputy fire marshal, is that considered a public safety position under CalPERS?
It is not. So that position is going to be an at-will position that's non-safety. Okay, so we have this queued up now. So I apologize for the little hiccup in tech here. The strategic plan integration. So it touches on all 5 of our strategic plan goals: quality of life, partnership and collaboration, organizational effectiveness, community engagement, and economic opportunity. So background. So excluding contract services, there's been no fire prevention program in place for over a decade here in the city. So, and let me just add to that, that when my staff recognized this early on, a year ago, we were proud to actually create a fire prevention bureau, knowing that we needed to start, the foundation of a robust fire prevention program. And actually earlier in the night, you acknowledged our fire prevention officer, Ed Clark. He's still here in the back. I can't tell you how grateful I am for him and his partner, Justine Solis, for their amazing job that they're doing. Could you imagine inspecting all the buildings that we have and all the hotels and all the, apartment complexes and everything else? They're doing a fantastic job, and it's going to take a while, but I'm really proud of their efforts and certainly proud of the leadership of the council and the community for being patient, right? Everyone deserves a robust fire prevention program and community education by the fire department. So with that, strategic plan initiatives, quality of life cited the establishment of a fire prevention program. So that came right out of the strategic plan goals. State mandates. So SB 1205 legislation in 2018 mandated annual inspections for multifamily dwellings, requires a member of the jurisdiction's fire agency to conduct inspections. So again, for example, we weren't even inspecting schools, unfortunately, because we didn't have the staff or the capacity. Now our inspector, Ed Clark, is out there, and his priority was the schools, right? So he's focusing on schools right now, and we're dividing and conquering and making sure that we can do the best that we can as this plan continues to roll out. Quality of life issues shared, code enforcement, building and safety. Research innovative strategies to increase organizational effectiveness. So right out of the strategic plan, again, and I mentioned the city departments that have been working collaboratively to make this happen: finance, HR, and industry standard practices that exist. So the Department of Life Safety, that will consist of building and safety, code enforcement, and the Fire Prevention Bureau. As I mentioned, it'll be supervised by a chief building official / deputy fire marshal. That individual, that highly trained individual, will report directly to the agency director, and that's the fire chief. Advantages: this requires no additional FTEs. We'll begin to reduce contract services. Additional duties of the chief building official cost approximately $15,000. So for discussion, the necessary changes, we need to establish the classification of chief building official / deputy fire marshal, and HR has done that, and that, as mentioned, it's included in your job description in the packet. A budget transfer of building and safety, code enforcement from community development to fire, and movement of select personnel to the fire administration building, the Covell building. Plan to minimize inconvenience to the public, communication strategy, and then you can see the movement of equipment that'll involve very minimal with facilities and IT helping with that process. So going back to the strategic plan, our guiding document, quality of life. Issues related to quality of life are collaboratively addressed in one department with enhanced communication. Partnership and collaboration. Consistency of processes in one department builds trust with the community. Economic opportunity. Enhanced public trust fosters business investments. Community engagement. Consistent messaging from the Department of Life Safety provides greater transparency and enhanced public trust. Organizational effectiveness. Collaboration within the department improves responsiveness to the public. Reduction of duplicated efforts and cross-training of personnel, allowing for greater effectiveness and employee mobility. And with that, I'd like to, answer any follow-up questions you may have. Oh, council?
No more questions, but I think this is an awesome idea.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good job on pulling this together.
Thank you.
Yes, and I know this took a lot, but I think this will smooth out a lot of the hiccups that we get.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think I agree with my colleagues, and this is something that's been in discussion off and on, for quite some time. I'm happy to see it coming together and with this recommendation.
Coming to the 21st century.
And I'm happy to make a motion to approve the staff recommendation.
I'll second it. Oh, sorry. And if I could just add, it'll be nice that the planning department can deal with planning and economic development and not code enforcement.
And we look forward, frankly, to working with all of our city partners. Yes.
You can get out there and do your thing. I think that's awesome.
Council, please cast your votes. A motion by Councilmember Brown, second by Mayor Pro Tem Meyer.
No. Wait,
Oh, yes.
there.
That motion passes 5-0.
Let me make a motion.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I'd also
Appreciate it.
like to make a motion to approve 14A since we skipped it for
I'll
after
second
this.
that.
Council, please cast your votes.
And we'll have this up and running within the next 2 weeks.
That motion passes 5-0.
Good 4 weeks. Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, let's move to city council and staff reports. First up, Councilmember Brown.
Thank you. I'll try to make this very brief. The Western Community Energy Board meeting is tomorrow. And last Monday, participated at with the Riverside WRCOG. And a couple of items of note, action taken on that. One is that we approved the fourth quarter draft budget amendment for fiscal year 21-22. And noteworthy in that, for the fourth quarter, there will be a net increase in revenues of approximately $29 million. This is primarily due to increased collections in the TUMP program. There's been a significant increase in the development activity, specifically in housing. So things are fiscally looking good for WRCOG. And they also commented on a number of things that are going on in environmental department activities and updates. The used oil filter collection events have continued virtually over the past year, with 634 participants and 345 used oil filters exchanged under the Household Hazardous Waste Grant. WRCOG staff increased the capacity at certified collection centers, one of which is in Hemet, from 1,850 gallons to over 3,700 gallons in 10 cities. So that's certainly good for the environment. And then they talked about the Love Your Neighborhood initiative, which will be something new that'll be deploying a new website in a few weeks to support cleanup efforts to address illegal dumping. And I know we've had our own cleanup efforts, so cities interested in participating in this program can contact WRCOG staff. So if there's more information on that, we might want to hook in with WRCOG with some of our efforts and maybe get some assistance. And that's all I have.
Councilmember Krupa.
Okay, very, very briefly. RCTC is tomorrow, and there's not a lot exciting on there. Since we've already approved Mid-County Parkway and that's going out for the PSNEs or something like that, whatever they do. The big announcement is, thanks to the state library, we have
added the Learning Express to the library's website. And that is a website that has the test books and practice tests for people who are having to take state exams. And it is all free, so long as you have a Hemet Public Library card. Not much else going on, but just this is to our city clerk. If you would check, you have 3 of us listed on the Hemet Housing Authority report and 3 of us on the Riverside Transit Agency. And all 3 of the mayor and Mr. Males and I are not on those 3. I'm on 2 of them. Mayor's on 2 and Joe's on 2, but 2 other ones. Does that make sense? It makes sense. It made sense to me. So if you would check that out and correct it, really appreciate it. And just one other thing, we appointed people to commissions and committees tonight. The library is still missing a trustee. They have been operating with 4 trustees now for the past year. So somebody sitting up here needs to appoint a trustee to the library board. So whoever it is, please find out, because we had extra applications for other committees and commissions tonight. And maybe those people who were not selected tonight would love to be a library trustee.
And
I don't know whose position it is. I know it's not mine.
believe it's Councilmember Males. And I believe we only have 1 application on file for consideration.
Well, maybe some of them that didn't get selected tonight would love to talk to you about being appointed to the library.
Do they have to be in my district or?
No,
No.
just in the city limits, because mine is in the county. Yeah. And that's all I have.
Councilmember Males.
Okay, I'm quick. I only have one thing I gotta say about the RCA, the one that,
You made my day.
Mrs. Krupa suckered me into a committee. No, I'm just kidding. But anyways, I dreaded that committee, and it was always on Zoom, and I couldn't understand, and I was always falling behind, but I went to a live meeting downtown Riverside and I loved it. It was great. I mean, the audio was great. I could hear. I didn't have to wear these things, and everything was crisp, and I voted for those little rats. That's all I got.
Mayor Pro Tem Meyer.
Okay, I just have one item to bring up, and I think this is the best time to bring it up, but maybe city manager in our development department, if when we are getting TUMP fees, is it possible for us to use the TUMP credits for local improvements as much as possible? Maybe make that a priority instead of collecting the TUMP fees to guarantee that the TUMP money is kept in Hemet. I don't know if we can look at that or keep that in mind as we have developments come in and things. If we do those TUMP credits for the local improvements, then we can guarantee that the money's around. So we can see the change. All right. That's the only thing I have.
Anybody have anything to report on ad hocs?
City manager, do we have a business meeting coming up anytime soon, or are we gonna wait till November?
We're gonna have that in November, but I'm having that discussion tomorrow with the city attorney regarding the PowerPoint that we're gonna provide to the business group.
Okay, thank you.
So I should have a date within the next couple of weeks to put out there, and but we're preparing for it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Any other ad hocs? City attorney? City manager?
I'd just like to recognize our interim finance director, Paul Espinoza, who's sitting in the back. He's part of the team. So.
That's it?
That's all I have, Mayor.
All right, future agenda items. Nothing? All right, ladies and gentlemen. There being no further business, this meeting is adjourned to the next city council meeting on October 25th. Thank you for joining us.